Well, guys, that was a test, and I suppose we passed. So, game just finished maybe 15 minutes ago. I took a minute after the game ended to watch some of the post-game stuff, and wow, this team, I should be used to it, but I'm just not. They play this game 5, 6, 7 times every year, and I should be used to it by now that we're going to play more of these games than the average team, and still, as the third quarter and the fourth quarter goes along and the game gets close and you realize things are going to come down to the last couple minutes and it's going to be dramatic and it's going to, you know, pull on your pull in your gut a little bit, it just I just feel like, why isn't this team playing better? Why isn't this team executing to a point where the game isn't this close? And over again, they find ways to win more than they lose in games like this, and I'm still not used to it. So, Seahawks win 26-24. Came down to the last couple minutes, and I shouldn't be surprised. I guess I'm not, but there's just a lot to talk about in this game. There's, on the one hand, this was a good Atlanta team that came into Seattle today that we beat. You cannot take anything away from beating this team, but there were definitely problems. There were definitely things this team could have done better, and I don't know. I mean, after that third quarter was over, I was ready to come on here and kill these guys because that third quarter was one of the worst quarters of the Pete Carroll era, and I just felt like I was very down on the coaches. I was very down on a couple of the players, although the players I wasn't too harsh on for the most part. And then you come back in that fourth quarter, you win the game, you make enough plays, and okay, offensively, pretty good, but I look at this offense and I say we were playing the 26th ranked defense in the league today. That is not a very good Atlanta Falcons defense. They have some good players. They make some good plays, but on the whole, this is not a defense that should be giving us problems. So I'm taking a look at this offense, and I know Wilson's not 100% yet. If you watch him run, he's not even close. He might not get 100% this season, but he's not 100% right now, that's for sure. He can't run any more than, the average NFL quarterback, like a Matt Ryan or a, Aaron Rodgers type. Not even as much as Aaron Rodgers, actually. That's not even a good comparison. He's, right now, in terms of his mobility, he's just another quarterback, and you can tell he missed a couple of throws today. Mainly, there was a third down one to Tyler Lockett that he missed. He missed a third down throw to Jermaine Kearse in the end zone where Kearse was covered really well, but he played good, but goddamn, there is something missing. And that little extra something, it hurts. It hurts in some of these games. Today it could have hurt. Today it could have cost us, and it didn't. So I just really hope that next week things look better than they did today, because I thought the bye week would have more of an impact on his agility and mobility, and it seems like it didn't. Offensive line played pretty well against the pass. I was impressed with their pass blocking. They weren't great. This offensive line is never going to be great at anything. We need to replace a couple people on this offensive line for them to even consider being great at anything. Pass blocking was okay. Run blocking was, I didn't love it. Kristen Michael played okay. He didn't do anything that made me upset. He didn't do anything that made me think, oh my God, he's the next Marshawn Lynch. So I feel like his struggles in this game, because he averaged about 3.5 yards a carry, had to do with the offensive line run blocking. Like, there's this one play on the first drive where Germain Ifedi just gets abused by a Falcons defensive lineman, and the play gets blown up on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2. And the next drive, or 2 drives later or whatever, Germain Ifedi is blocking 3 different Falcons, guiding Kristen Michael to a 9-yard touchdown run. So there are seeds there of something good, but right now this offensive line, they didn't play great. Maybe they didn't even play good, but today was about as good as you could have hoped. Today was about maybe not their peak, but close. And Yeah, receivers, I'll say this. I didn't get too mad at the players today. Jimmy Graham dropped a third down conversion. Um, CJ Spiller dropped 2 passes today, and that's kind of his thing, CJ Spiller. That's what he does. And those are things that we just can't be dealing with right now, especially from Jimmy Graham, who had a very good game today. Jimmy Graham played great. I'm not even killing him, but he can't be dropping easy third down conversions. So offensively, we did pretty good. I really feel like we probably should have done a little more. I mean, that third quarter when the defense completely shit the bed, that doesn't happen if the offense can get together a couple of drives. If Russell Wilson hits Tyler Lockett on that third down, if we can run the ball a little bit more and keep the defense on the sideline for a couple more plays, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. And while the offense did put up, I guess you want to say 4 scoring drives because one of them was a short field, I still feel like it should be a little better. I mean, Doug Baldwin did not do much today. I mean, that's not the way this offense maximizes its talent base. You got to get Doug the ball more than 4 catches for 31 yards. So good enough, not great. Defensively, this is where the Jekyll and Hyde thing comes in, because I'll tell you what, for 3 quarters, this defense played great. They forced several Atlanta punts. They forced some 3-and-outs. They were getting pressure on Matt Ryan constantly in the first half. They forced a big turnover that gave our offense a free touchdown, basically, the Cliff Averill strip sack, which was beautiful. Wagner was getting to Ryan repeatedly. Bennett played great, and Bennett got hurt later, so this is part of the next thing I'm going to say. Jerron Reed got a sack. Cassius Marsh got a sack. It was a phenomenal showing by this pass rush on the whole. We got to Ryan almost every play in that first half, and like I said, the turnovers, Earl Thomas had a huge interception, even though it was more of a luck thing. It wasn't like he made some incredible play on a pass. It was tipped up in the air. That turnover changed the game. It helped us win this game in a huge way. We shut down the Atlanta rushing attack. They had no running game. They had 1 good carry the whole game. Bobby Wagner played like a man possessed. Earl Thomas was a beast. Earl Thomas had one of the best games of his career, I think, and he has not played his best football so far this season, so it's great to see that. KJ Wright played good. He had a dumb penalty early on, but he played good. Deshaun Shedd, he got picked on a little bit, I'll say that. So did Richard Sherman. Honestly, Richard Sherman didn't play his best game, but that's going to happen against this team. I'm not shocked that Richard Sherman and Deshaun Shedd would struggle against this Atlanta team in particular. So, 3 quarters, defense, great. You're playing a great offense. What else can you expect? But that third quarter, when it was over, I was ready to fire Chris Richard. It was just everything went wrong, and basically, to me, it's just in that third quarter, Kyle Shanahan adjusted after they did nothing in the first half, and we did not adjust back until really the game was almost over, and arguably we never did. Atlanta just didn't have the ball very much in the fourth quarter. We had the ball almost the entire fourth quarter. Atlanta never had a chance to do much. So I look at what happened in that third quarter. It just felt like we were not able to adjust. Like Kyle Shanahan changed things up for the Atlanta offense. Our defense didn't switch things up to keep up. We were playing this zone defense. Sherman wanted to follow Julio Jones around, and Chris Richard was playing this zone, and Julio was picking us apart, and it was just a mess. I mean, there was one part in this game after the first Atlanta touchdown where Sherman was just screaming at Chris Richard on the sideline. I think it was Chris Richard, because he didn't like playing the zone defense as the Atlanta offense was starting to pick things up with some deep passes down the field and some big plays to Julio Jones. So, although Richard Sherman didn't play his best game, I'm looking at the coaches for the way we managed that situation. That was a very bad quarter. That was one of the worst quarters of the Pete Carroll era. And after that quarter was over, I was like, maybe this Chris Richard guy doesn't have what it takes to go up against the best in the world. Maybe he's just, maybe he's just a decent defensive coordinator when you give him the talent, but he doesn't have the X's and O's chops. Because that's kind of what it felt like last year at some points, but he had the number one defense, so you keep him around, but part of it's the players and part of it's the coaching, and it feels like it's a lot more about these players than the coach right now. So that third quarter was about as ugly as it could get. We could not do anything right that whole quarter, and we had defensive players and coaches screaming at each other on the sideline, and I hate seeing that. I really, really did not like what I saw that quarter, and even though they played really good the whole rest of the game, they gave up 3 points in the other 3 quarters. You look at that and you wonder what happens next time we're playing an elite offense, because, as the season marches on, maybe not so much on the regular season schedule, but, I mean, we are going to have to play the Patriots. We are going to have to play, well, I guess the Bills' offense has actually been rolling a little bit lately. I think we play the Saints this year. Their offense is top notch, so gotta be better. And to me, at the end of the day, you had no Cam Chancellor, which was a big reason why the secondary wasn't communicating well, which led to some of the blown coverages. No Frank Clark, and we still got good pass rush until Michael Bennett got hurt. And swear to God, please don't let Michael Bennett be seriously injured. I can't deal with that. I cannot deal with that shit right now. And okay, Frank Clark, Cam Chancellor, and then later Michael Bennett. I guess that's about it. The fact that they were able to do as well as they did, I guess you have to say they did the job. I mean, that last drive where Atlanta went 4 and out, I know Sherman got away with one. Sherman got away with PI. He did, but how much can you kill these guys for giving up 24 points against the number one defense in football? The number one offense in football when you're missing 3 key players. Or 2.5, I guess. At special teams, we almost lost this game because of long snapping. I was worried it was going to happen. It almost happened today. We got to figure this shit out because we have a good long snapper waiting at his house in Clint Gresham, who long snapped for us for years. And we tried to save some money by going with Nolan Freeze because it saves us like $200,000 on the cap, and he's not good. So we got to figure this out because it almost cost us the game today. We missed a field goal because of a bad snap. The blocked extra point was a good play by the Atlanta, whoever blocked it. I don't know who it was, but that was just a good play by the defense. But that snap on that field goal was terrible, and it could have easily cost us this game. So good win. There's a lot of stuff to like, a lot of stuff that has you wondering how good is this team compared to some of the other elite teams in this league. Like, I guess now you're saying Dallas is up there, New England, God. Well, it's actually a little dry at the top of the league this year. There's that. But still, how do we stack up against those teams? I don't know. And I'm a little concerned about what we do next time we play an elite offense, because that third quarter, that was some of the worst shit I've ever seen under Pete Carroll. I'll leave it at that. Pretty good effort by the guys. And I guess all you can say is that the guys did their job at the end, and we played this game a lot, and I'm still not used to it. I guess you can't blow out everybody, but we were up 17-3 at halftime, and I just thought we were going to put the game away. But that third quarter, man, everything that we're worried about this team came out in that third quarter. All right, I'll see you guys later. We got who do we play next week? Do we go to Frisco or? Oh no, we go to Arizona next week. Okay, there's another team that desperately needs to win a game in the division, so gonna find out.